Okay, so now we had a little written practice on page 113. Let's do a little out loud practice here on textbook page 121. Again, the picture that I took is kind of grainy, so you might want to look right at your book on page 121. We're going to do exercise 2 together here. I'm going to skip exercise 1 for this purpose, but if you want to go back and look at that later on, that would be great if you need more practice. But right now, exercise 2, I'm going to have you ask the question and I'll give the answer, and I'll just make sure that you ask the right question. How does it work? You can see in the example it says où, or where, blank, or the slash mark, and then habiter. So you got to say where do you live, basically, because where and habiter is live, right? So you can see they go où, then you put in the est que tu, and then the habite has to match up with the tu, right? So that's why that es is on there in the question. So où est-ce que tu habites, that es comes from that verb chart we did about 3-4 weeks ago, if you remember. So où est-ce que tu habites, where is it that you live? That's what you would say, and I would say j'habite à Quebec comes from the parentheses. Okay, so using my pointer now, you would go où, then you come up with the est que tu, and then habite. Don't say habiter, that's the er, habite with the es. And I'll say j'habite à Quebec. Okay? Normally, let's see here, it says W. Normally I had people write this one out. Normally I said people write this out, but you and I are going to do it as a oral thing. So ask the first question, pause it, and ask the question. So hopefully you asked, où est-ce que tu étudies? Where do you live? And I answered, j'étudie à Montreal. That's where my part came from, the parentheses. Okay? Pause it, come up with a question, translate it, know what it means, and then I'll answer it. So pause it now. Hopefully you said, où est-ce que tu travailles? And I say, je travaille dans une pharmacie. I work in a pharmacy. Because the question was, where do you work? Okay? You do number 3 here. And I say, je parle français toujours. I always speak French. So again, do you know what you asked? Quand est-ce que tu parles français? When do you speak French? Hopefully you knew that. I'm not going to translate the next few, but let's see if you can do it. You ask. And I say, je parle anglais souvent. Number 5, you start, pause. And you asked, how do I play tennis? I say, je joue au tennis. Je joue bien au tennis, is how I say that. Remember, the bien adverb goes right after the verb. It's added to the verb, which is joue in this case. So, je joue bien au tennis. Number 6, pause it. And I say, je danse très bien. I dance very well. So you can probably guess you asked, how do you dance? Okay. Number 7, again, read it and figure out what it is you asked. Now this one's tricky, so I'm going to give you a little more help here. So again, pourquoi est-ce que tu, just like you're used to, pourquoi, then est-ce que, then the tu, because they told us to talking to a friend here again. Now être comes from a little while ago, like je suis, tu es, il est, nous sommes. Those all come from that être verb chart. So it's going to be pourquoi est-ce que tu es, because a is what goes with tu from that chart. That's the tricky part here. So, pourquoi est-ce que tu es en France? Why is it that you are in France? And I say, parce que j'aime voyager, because I like to travel. The whole answer is right there in the parentheses for me this time. And the same thing now with number 8. You're going to go to a. Okay, you're not going to use être like that. You have to match it up with the tu. So I'm telling you, it's to a. See if you can ask the whole question, though. Go ahead. Again, you should have said, pourquoi est-ce que tu es à Paris? Why is it that you are in Paris? And I'll say, parce que j'ai un copain ici, because I have a friend here. Okay? Hopefully this is making a little bit of sense. The key is that you know question word, then est-ce que, then your phrase, in this case, to, or whatever the action was. We're going to have you do one more, just to make sure that you know how to write these out. Look at the bottom of the page here. By the way, I'm just going to point out, ah bon is like, ah, good. We say, oh, really, usually in English. Okay, so ah bon in French is like, oh, good, or oh, really, in English. But I want you to look at activity number 4 down here at the bottom. I lost my mouse. Here it is. Number 4, look at the questions and see if you understand what they mean. And what I'm going to have you do is actually write out the answers in English. Okay, I want to know that you know what the question's asking. So write out your answer in English, and you know, for the first two, they give you a pretty good hint, right? So you can know what they're asking there, but the other ones, they don't have the hints in there. So you need to come up with the full answer so I know you know what the question is. So don't just say, like for number one, it says name of school, or name of city, I mean, don't just write down Cambridge or Mora or whatever. Write down, I live in Mora, so I know that you know exactly what the question asked. Okay? So write that out, and then when you're done with that, you're going to either email it to me, or again, you can save it on a piece of paper and mail it in with all the workbook pages and the quizzes and stuff when you're all done. The emailing, you get more immediate feedback to know how you're doing, but if you think you're doing good and you want to just write on a piece of paper, that's fine, whatever's easiest for you. I just will give you points for it. I want to see how you're doing. Once you finish that, then go to 122. So page 122, Godfrey French 122 is your next video you need to watch. Okay? So thanks for tuning in, and good luck.